Hello, everybody, and welcome wherever you might be. Let's fire this bad boy up. Pre-season, the Blitz is around the corner, and we are now really 3 weeks away from hashtag NBL23 dominating social media, of which you can do right now. Hashtag NBL Overtime at NBL. It's on your screen, all the socials. Let's get into it. Homicide to my left. How you doing, Corey?
Why are you using my line, man?
What did I use?
Let's get into it.
Did I use that?
That's my line.
Use it again, though.
That's what I want to do. Let's get into it. Plenty to talk about.
You know what? I think I stole it from you, but you give it more oomph. Go again.
Plenty to discuss. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. I apologise for stealing your line, Liam Sandon. In the house. Hello to you.
Hello, mate. I'm enjoying the fact this year I'm close enough to get a little love.
Yes.
Off the top.
Yeah.
Just kind of makes me feel good.
It was the one thing that I was half against the set. We're too close, but anyway, I lost that fight. Quickly, before we get into what's going to be a jam-packed show, so much to talk about. Pre-season on the weekend. Anything for you stand out?
Yeah, well, Blitz a couple of days away, but a couple of games around the country and across in New Zealand. Good games in Perth, Adelaide against the Wildcats. We saw Brady Manick, but the key moment for me was Tashawn Thomas. Got a little hurt, new import for the Wildcats, and you can see in transition, turns his ankle. He's okay, luckily, but look, he pushes the emergency exit and he's out the door. He's out of the building. We can laugh because luckily he's okay day to day with that ankle, but for 20 or so seconds, he got stuck outside the building.
I don't understand he got stuck outside the building. He literally went out the door in front of 2,000 people. They knew where he went. But they sat around going, oh, well, where'd he go?
It was the fourth quarter. They thought he was just on his way.
Fair enough. Hashtag NBL Overtime. Let's get into it. I want to start with the Adelaide 36ers because last week in Yes or No, I asked you, is it championship or bust? You said yes, and they have tooled. They've tooled up like a team that is sick of finishing outside of the playoffs. We have a look at their ins and outs. They are absolutely stacked. Of course, we know Robert Franks and Antonio Cleveland coming in. So the imports, we've got Mitch McCarron still there. We've got Sunday there, Daniel Johnson. They are a team. Kai Soto as well. I'm going to start with you, Liam, because you are all about this team having a decent crack at the NBL championship.
And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for ownership and the front office, putting the resources behind it and going for it in free agency. Swing big, hit big, and then maybe you can win big over the course of the season. And I really want this title for Adelaide. I want this title for their fans. They've got one of the best fan bases in the league, but they have been long suffering. It's been 20 years since they raised the championship banner in Titletown. I want it for Daniel Johnson as well, who has been tremendous in this league for a long time, but has never won a ring. So hopefully they can all come together because they've got some great pieces. It's been a long time for Adelaide and they can have a big year.
Look, we know, Homicide, exactly what Cleveland's going to bring. We know what Franks is going to bring. But Craig Randall's really, Liam spoke on this a couple of times in the off-season. He really is the key. Put up some numbers on the weekend in those games against Perth. Is he the key for you? Do you look at him and go, all right, we know what these other guys are going to bring, but he is the key that needs to stand up?
Craig Randall is second.
Oh, hello.
G League most improved player. 27 points per game, one of the most lethal scorers in G League history. Hit 50 a couple times. He's hit 40 several times last season. This was his number. Second in the league in scoring. 27 points per game. 5.5 rebounds, 6 assists, 132 three-pointers made. Led the G League in that. This is what we thought Dusty Hannahs was going to be last year. And now put it like this. If Dusty put on last year, Adelaide would have been a bigger threat. Remember, I was on the bandwagon after preseason saying, they in the top 4.
No. You said they're going to win the championship after the... Yes, you
sure?
Did he? Back me up here.
We might have to rotate.
You saying they weren't going to make the playoffs and me giving you pajamas.
Hey, you know what? Illawarra just got there. But I say, what makes you think that Randall's going to be better than Dusty Hannahs then, when they had similar form lines coming in?
I just think that first of all, he's starving.
Yep.
This is a guy that came from basically almost nothing.
Yep.
He went to play with Brooklyn, and a couple years ago, he was averaging 11 points a game. He wasn't even nowhere in the lineup or a thought to be like a star. So what he did this season in the past, that just shows grit, determination. I talked to his father a lot, and it was just very rare. I bumped into his dad in Vegas, random. Bumped the Vegas story, of course. And he and I just started chopping it up, and he's like, yo, I think my son might have a chance to come to, if he doesn't make it with Portland, I think he has a chance maybe to come to the NBL. I'm like, listen, man, the league is popping, and if you can find a home here, and he'll be an asset to this league, because I knew he could score following his his season talking to his dad. So I really think he's a huge key because he can get it done offensively.
For me, I got my teams mixed up there because when I think about Craig Randall, he reminds me of Tyler Harvey a little bit because he's an off-the-bounce three-point shooter. And you're right, I mean, he's going to be the key this season. We know what a lot of those guys bring. Mitch McCarron's a big key. Will he be Boomers Mitch McCarron and Melbourne United Mitch McCarron, or will he be the hesitant Mitch McCarron of last season? But for me, Craig Randall is the big one. And on the weekend, right, he had 29 points in the second game. Massive. That's the beautiful Craig Randall we want to see this season. He was 1 of 13 from 3 in the first game, and Jamie Perlman was standing there talking to him about shot selection, trying to kind of make it work. That's going to be fascinating to watch for me this season. Will he be Tyler Harvey when he first came into the league and was almost MVP and was all NBL first team, or will it be a bit more like a 2015 Jordan McRae, who was second in the league in scoring for Melbourne United, but that team had a losing record and they missed the finals. It didn't work for the squad. That's the big thing to watch for me with Adelaide.
So you mentioned it last week, right, about the Australians, and that's how you win championships, because the imports are what they are, right? So Cleveland, Franks, Randall, question marks only because we haven't seen him yet. But you mentioned it. Mitch McCarron is 100% the key for me in this team, because if he does play the way that we know he can do and what he was able to do for the Boomers, if he has the confidence, for whatever reason he didn't look like, if he was trying to play a new role last year, that hesitancy was sometimes there. If we see Mitch McCarron as in they'll make the playoffs.
I tell you,
they'll make the playoffs if we see the Mitch McCarron that we all know he can play.
I tell you right now, this team is loaded.
They are loaded,
mate.
Which means it's reminiscent of Mitch McCarron when he was with championship winning Melbourne United.
There's truth there.
He wants to just be out there. Like, he's a stat stuffer. That's what he is. But he needs those pieces around him for him to be able to facilitate and play that type of basketball. He's back to having those pieces. I expect a big year from him.
You're talking about making the finals? I mean, if this team doesn't make the finals,
Finals are 16.
it's an abject.
Come on, man.
Nah, finals are 4.
Yeah, I want to put this out. When I
that's an
say
abject
playoffs, I'm
failure.
talking top 4. Be there in the final
Mate,
4.
if
not
they don't
the
make
5
the
or 6.
finals,
Yeah.
this team doesn't make the finals. It's like Southeast Melbourne last year. It's an abject failure.
Absolutely. Hey, kudos to the ownership crew as well, because there was a fair bit of conversation last year about how much money they'd spent, how they need to spend more, all the rest of it. And the NBL is and we've spoken about this before, it's a league that you can be like, all right, we had a bad year for whatever reason, we can retool quickly. I'm not saying that is certainly the right way to go about it. I'm not saying it's the wrong way to go about it. But all of a sudden you can say, okay, we don't need to develop people via a draft for 5 years to have success. If the ownership have some deepish pockets, and most of them do, they can go, let's have a crack at this and reward those loyal Adelaide fans who have been waiting more than 20 years to hoist the trophy up.
And that's another reason why I want this team to be successful, why I would love to see them win the title.
All right.
Because we want owners spending money, making big
rewarded.
plays and getting rewarded.
All right, this time last year, we all sat on a little different desk, and Corey said, the JJs, they'll win 14 games. And I said, they'll have to make the playoffs if they do that. And he goes, yeah, I reckon they'll make the playoffs. You were the only one in the country, to be fair, outside of the Jack Jumper organisation, that legitimately thought they could have a great year. And I think, well, it was proof. Talk to me. What do you make of this team as we head into season number 2 for the JJs?
You know what I want to do? I want to tell you 10 reasons why I believe in this team.
Well, make them quick.
10 reasons why I believe in this team.
Okay. Fire away.
They're mentally tough.
1.
They have the ability to close out games. Their home court is a fortress.
Well, membership sold out in 7.5 seconds, so it's
They
hard
got
to
a
disagree.
quality point guard, Josh Machette. They have a state behind them. Support. Coach of the year. They can defend. I like the imports. Rashard Kelly, Milton Doyle. I like that.
That's 8. Yeah. You got 2 more for me?
Jack McVay's going another level.
9.
And they've been there before, grand finalists, so they know what it takes to get into the finals.
All right, that's the 10 points why Homicide thinks they're going to be great.
This is why I know.
Just quickly, here
I know,
it is.
not I think.
Oh, you
I know.
For people at home, you mentioned the imports. Here's the ins and outs for the JJs after an off-season. You know, Kelly and Doyle in, Josh Adams and McIntosh out. Will Magnay, of course, is going to have a delayed start to the season as well. Do you like these two? I
like these two. I saw them preseason. I saw some preseason action over the weekend. I watched them play Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, and I like the addition. I like Rashard Kelly. He put up some good numbers. Milton Doyle played some solid basketball as well. I think they're a really good fit for the team. And the bonus is Scott. Jesus Christ, I just got back. Scott Roth, Coach of the Year. Pardon me. He gets the best out of his imports and locals.
Yeah.
You understand? Especially the locals, because on paper, as we all saw, we're like, there's no way this team is going to do well. And for him to maximize every part of potential of his locals, he got everything out of them. That's a great look. So because of those reasons, I still believe in what's going on down there.
One of the reasons that you cited was the fact that they can get it done late in games, which they did, absolutely no doubt. But a huge part of that was Josh Adams, who hit some big shots. Are you confident that these guys coming in, as we look at this, that grand final, even though they went down, he was the man who stood up. That game 3 against Melbourne United, as we all know. Are you confident that someone else can do what he did in late-minute situations?
I mean, let's think about this. It was up and down for him a huge part of the year. He got cooking towards the end of the season, and then finals, we saw what he did in finals and grand finals. It was really a team effort. It really was. And that's when it comes down to the playmaking ability of Josh Majette. Everybody else is coming in that much more confident. Jack McVay is coming in that much more confident. So when you add in the pieces there, Rashard Kelly's a good player, man. I watched him, and I was really impressed. Yeah, it's preseason, but I'm just like, he's in shape. He's coming in, moving well. They're getting it done on the defensive end, and I feel putting him in the right places and running the right offensive sets for him, he's going to be big for him.
So they'll finish above Southeast Melbourne Phoenix?
Now, here's the thing.
Hit me.
Again, here's the thing.
Hit me.
If I'm going between Tassie and the Phoenix, a lot of the things that I just named my top 10 reasons why Tassie I rock with, they lack, the Phoenix lack. This is a big year for Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, and they need to show that they're mentally tougher. Because remember, look how they started. And what happened? Train wreck. They got to show up. So for me, when it comes to believing, based off what I've seen, I don't believe.
There is no doubt. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix went into last year with huge expectations. And halfway through the year, it looked like they were going to be a team to contend for a championship. It wasn't to be. Here's the changes in an off-season for the Phoenix. Liam Santa Maria, straight up, who finishes higher, Tassie or the Phoenix?
I think the Phoenix.
Okay.
I'm not as bullish on them as I have been in previous years. The thing about Tassie, last season was a sports movie for Tassie, right? And what we know about movies, most of the time sequels suck.
You seen Rudy 2?
Nah, Matrix was dope.
Now, there are exceptions to the
Matrix
rule.
a sports movie now?
Just saying.
There are exceptions to the rule. Godfather Part 2, Terminator 2, Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
But they caught lightning in a bottle last season. A lot of it had to do with Josh Adams. Can they do it again? It's going to be tough. For the Phoenix, I like the idea of the Phoenix this season, but I need to see more because a lot of it is going to revolve around those 3 new imports, right? Gary Brown, Trey Kell, Alan Williams, and what are those guys going to be like? Now, they all come in with great pedigree. On paper, they look like it's all going to work great. Very rarely does that happen where you hit on all 3 if they're brand new to the league. So that's going to be interesting to see. I like it. As I said, I like all the pieces. Big year for them. Huge year. Bit disappointment last season. They extended Simon Mitchell, showed faith in the head coach. Now it needs to come together and they need to contend.
Look, Corey, he referred to it, right? And we spoke about it, not just us, everyone. Their last 5 or 6 minutes in crucial games, we were screaming for the pill to be given to Mitch Creek. And he didn't get it as much. And in the end, it cost them games that other teams are able to win. Who's their guy? Who is their guy this year? Does it evolve, or is there someone from the start that needs to be that fourth quarter guy? Because if you haven't got an alpha, you probably haven't got dubs.
I think it's that backcourt. And I was calling last season for it to be Xavier Mumford, and it sort of didn't play out that way. Maybe they didn't put the ball in his hands in the right moments. I think it needs to be your backcourt. It's hard to play through a 3 or a 4 in those moments. I think back to that Taipans team of 2020. Scott Machado and DJ Newell were massive in crunch time, and Cam Oliver was feeding off that action. That, I think, is the idea this season with the Phoenix, with Gary Brown and Trey Cal.
I mean, every successful basketball team I know, your guards are the engine, whether it's scoring or creating, or putting the ball in the right place. That's why in Tasmania, Josh Majette is extremely important. So the Phoenix, you're absolutely right, Liam. The Phoenix, it has to go with that backcourt. The point guard, he has to be able to come in and make some serious plays happen down the stretch.
Now, the Phoenix have had an early win, and I've got to give a shout-out to whoever it was, I'm going to give a shout-out to the media department, but it might not be their decision. There's stuff in Vegas that went via all the NBL socials when they were announcing and working and trying to wheel and deal with managers and meeting players. That was through all the NBL socials. A little bit of the clip we just seen where the dudes jumped off the plane and went to medical testing and rolled. That stuff being available and exposed via socials and all their website, I think is brilliant. So the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, I'll give a shout out to the media department. If it was fully just Tommy Greer, I apologise, but I thought that brilliant access is what makes the NBL more and more exciting if you're a fan, right?
Correct.
You want to see that type of stuff.
Correct.
All right, so you've got the Phoenix above the Jack Jumpers and vice versa. Hang on, I'm just going to write that down. Liam, Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, guarantee, homicide, JJ, same words. All right, quick break. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. New Zealand, Illawarra, Cairns, yes or no? Plenty more to come. Don't go anywhere.
Besto. Little fake, got it in. Oh, Besto! Adam Gibson on the buzzer. What a way to cap off the night. AJ got him in the air and he jams one. Ogilvy mopped up. David Barlow just in the nick of time.
Championships, all NBL first teams, NBA, national, international representation. That's a snapshot of 4 men who have given so much to this great game in this great country, who over the course of the off-season said, that's enough, kinda. I did hear you and Peter Hawley talking about Dave Barlow in the pre-season game last Thursday, so he may at some time bob up, but I think I speak for the entire country. We say thank you for everything that those 4 gentlemen did for this particular game, be it in the domestic clubs or for the Boomers.
Legends.
Absolutely.
Greats of the game.
And congratulations on the long careers that they've all had. And good luck with the transition with life after the game.
Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. Let's get to New Zealand because I want to get straight to the ins and outs. We're going to talk about the Breakers. There's a big thing. There's a big in when it comes to the Breakers. I think it's fairly obvious. There's a lot of players, all right? There you go. Huge turnover. We'll get to that in a minute. But the biggest in is the Breakers being back in front of their fans in New Zealand, and no player, regardless of who it is, can actually come close to how amazing that's going to be when they play their first game. We spoke so much about it in the last 2 years. Thank you so much to the Breakers. We've said it a million times. I'm so excited to see them get back in front of their home fans.
I don't think there's been in any sport you've ever seen a team that had to deal with a situation like this. And, you know, we've all showed our support as a whole, individually, reached out to a lot of them, and there's no place like home. That's all I can say. And I'm very, very happy, like everyone is, that they're home and they're going to have a whole lot of home games, man.
Who's the most important player? Who has to play well for this team to be good?
Will McDowell-White. For me. Now, we've talked about imports all day long so far, and those guys, Jarrell Brantley, Barry Brown Jr., they're going to be, Derek Pardon, they're going to be massive. But Will McDowell-White, in the same way you were talking about Mitch McCarron at Adelaide, if Will McDowell-White is most improved player, he's knocking on the door of an all-NBL team this season. He talked about numbers of like 16, 8, and 8. If he's getting anywhere near that over the course of the season, they're going to be a very successable team.
Hang on, the 16, 8, and 8?
Yeah.
He'll be the MVP. Legitimately, I'm not taking
No,
the piss out of
I
it.
agree.
If he gives that and he's...
I agree. I said that if he gets those, he's all NBL first team at least.
Oh, certainly.
But anywhere near it, if he's consistently making plays and knocking down shots, they're going to be a good team.
Hey, who are you more intrigued to see this year? Illawarra and the way they're going about it, and Gorge and the new generation, or Cairns and the fact they've gone a little bit different, the factory, gone to get some young kids and said, hey, You're going to play from the outset. Who are you more intrigued to see?
Cairns.
Cairns, I like it. Why?
They're going to be excited. They're going to be exciting to watch. They're going to be really fun. Keanu Penda,
Your man.
my man for sure, but remember what you said.
What did I say?
He was one of the most exciting players.
I did say that, and Drewy tried to fight me down, and then Keanu Pinda in our interview. We were doing a game, the three of us together, and Liam, the old journalist, and said, "You chasing that bag?" He's like, "Man, I've got to chase money." It was half-time of a game, and that's why I love him.
Shannon Scott is in. We talked about that pre-show.
Yep.
How excited we are to really get a chance to see him. Wardenberg, I'm excited to see him. That's the shooter right there. So I'm really excited to see him. He's going to get an opportunity to play. TJ McCall is back.
Yep.
You know, that's I call him like, that's the Westbrook of our league with his reckless abandonment when he plays hard at both ends. Rookie of the Year is back. Buqual. So I'm very, very excited to see this team. They're going to be exciting to watch.
And the name you didn't mention there is the guy Adam Ford described. He said, DJ Hogue is going to be our guy. He said he's going to be our guy this season. I'm fascinated to see how big time he can be.
And I got to give a shout out to my man, Ben Air.
Yeah, got a gig. You called for it.
Got
You
the
got
gig.
it. Quickly, we've got about
Good luck,
45
man.
seconds, and we'll touch a little more on Illawarra next week. But the way they're constructed, the way they went around their off-season, how confident are you they can be competitive and maybe push towards a wildcard game?
The Hawks?
Yeah.
Not confident.
Okay.
Look at the outs. Antonius Cleveland, all NBL first team. Dewalt Reith, elite Aussie. Rattan Mays, best six-man runner-up. And Justinian Jessup, let's be honest, was a fourth import. Last season. So they've got some nice ins. Justin Robinson's going to be good. Mango Matiang's a bit of a question mark for me, how big time he's going to be this season. And the guy who's not on there as an out is the GOAT. They've just had the greatest coach of all time depart their squad. So look, they've got some nice pieces. As I said, Justin Robinson's going to be fun. I just don't know if they've got enough.
Well, we're going to find out pretty early as well. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. Got it. But New Zealand put them to the sword in one of those games as well, didn't they?
They did.
There wasn't a great deal of vision. I didn't see a great deal of it, but from all reports, breakers went bang. Hold whatever thought that is, Corey. I'll get back to it on the other side of the break. Hashtag NBL Overtime. You know what's next?
What's that?
You could have just said yes, because that would have been a nice segue. Yes or no on the other side of this? Wherever you might be, hello to you right around Australia. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved at NBL. You ready?
Ready.
Yes or no? I'm breaking it up a little bit today.
What do you got?
I'm going to go to Corey first.
Oh.
Will Lamar Patterson ever play in the NBL again?
No.
Did Tassie stuff up the Josh Adams situation from a PR point of view?
No.
Does the NBL need the defensive 3-second rule?
No.
Will Darwin be the next NBL franchise?
Yes.
All off-season. It's not just the NBL, but every time there's a signing, this is the greatest signing that's ever happened. Were there any bad signings in the NBL off-season?
No.
No, I don't want you to take this personally, okay? I don't want you to take this personally.
That means you're going to take it personally.
Okay.
Everyone
But you are.
who says this.
You are the GM of Next Star Recruitment, right?
Correct.
Should the NBL be disappointed with the lack of Next Stars this year?
No.
Okay, cool.
You want to know why?
Yeah, tell me.
Quality over quantity.
Yep.
Let's have 2 next stars who get drafted instead of 7 and 5 who don't.
Okay. I'm not overly disappointed with it because I don't hate that theory, but we have seen bigger numbers in the last couple of years. All right. Hey, the Blitz this weekend. Anything in particular looking forward to?
Cairns Taipans, I want to see them. I'm excited to see them play.
For you?
I want to see all the imports that we haven't seen yet.
I will point this out as well, that the last time we had a Blitz in this type of way was in Tasmania. And I know the pandemic's been since, and they got a licence not too far after. So take to that what you will. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. Hit us up via all the socials right there on the screen at NBL. I thought yes or no. I thought I nailed it today, so good job to me. You boys were pretty good as well. A lot to get into. The Blitz will be back next week. The season ain't too far away. Hashtag NBL 23. Get tweeting.